Alright guys, in this video I just want to clarify the numbering system that I use for my network diagrams and Gantt charts and why I start with the number 0, because I know some people start with the number 1. So let's start off with a simple table of dependencies here and get started with drawing a Gantt chart first. So if you were going to draw the Gantt chart on some graph paper, then we could start by adding our activities on the y-axis and days on the x-axis. And without thinking about it too much, you might just jump straight into activity A and say, okay, it has 0 predecessors, so it starts at the beginning, its duration is 3 days, and you're just going to draw it out like that by simply just filling 3 blocks or 3 days. Now you would look back at the table of dependencies and say, okay, activity B depends on activity A and it's 4 days long. So I'm going to start where activity A picked up, and I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4. And so far so good. We have a 4-day activity that takes up 4 days. The next thing we would do would be looking at activity C. Well, it depends on activity A, so it has to start where activity A finishes, and it's 2 days long. So we would come down to this point directly below activity A and drop it out so it is 2 days. Then we'd go and look at activity D. Okay, it depends on activity B, so it has to pick up where B finished, and it is 1 day long, so we're just going to drop it in right here. And activity E depends on D, so it has to pick up where D finished, and it's 2 days long, so it's going to take us here to the end of day 10. And this is a pretty familiar process for people. They would look at this Gantt chart and say, yep, that makes sense. Activity A is 3 days long, activity B is 4 days long, activity C is 2 days long, activity D is 1 day long, and activity E is 2 days long, and there we go, it all pretty much checks out. Now, before we continue on with this discussion, let's just draw up what the network diagram would be for this same project. So we can just do a rough sketch first. We're just going to have we have activity B depends on A, so does activity C. So we're going to have something that looks like this. We'll have activity B, and we'll have activity C. And then D depends on B and C. So then we're going to get this shape here, where we have C and B coming down into activity D. And then activity E just depends on activity D. So let's redraw this with our convention that shows early start and early finish and all of that stuff, including late start and late finish. And now we'd be able to add in information for early start, early finish, late start, and late finish, and then do the forward and backward pass to determine the project duration and also the critical path. Now, this is where I typically would opt to put a 0 here for my early start of my initial activity. That would mean that I would add the duration, and this would become 3, and then I would carry that through. Okay, so this would be 3, 4, and 7, and 3, 4, 3, and 2, this would be 5. I would bring the larger of the 2 into here, which is 7. We'd get 8, 8, and then we'd finish on 10. Now this has been a point of confusion for a lot of people about why do I start with a 0 and why don't I start with a 1. It's honestly just a convention. You can pick whatever you want and start. It doesn't really matter. You're just kind of defining stuff here. But I'm into math, and I like to start my axes when I graph at 0. So when I did the Gantt chart, I put a 0 here, and then I go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't like to put my axes, set to a value of 1. To me, as like a mathematician, that's a really strange thing to do. Though I do know a lot of people like to set the initial early start as a 1 and then do a bunch of like random stuff. But the reason I do it is because I set this to 0, because this is like the axes of a graph. Now, when we look at this, these 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, these are like labels for actual different points in time. When we look at activity A was 3 days long, as we saw from the table of dependencies. And basically, if this is a day, I'll even try to put a little curly brace here. So this is a day, and then we'll maybe do 3 different colors for each day. So we have red, green is day 2, and let's do purple is day 3. Right? We can all get behind the idea that this is 3 days, and these are 3 separate days that it's occupying. But that means that when we look at the first day, the beginning of day 1 is going to be assigned with this number 0. It's like a label for that particular point in time. When we go to the end of day 1, we get to this line here, And when we extend it down, we get a number of 1. So 1 is actually the end of day 1. It signifies the end of day 1, but it also signifies the beginning of day 2. This is what throws a lot of people off. They're like, well, how can that mean two different things? Well, look at it. This is literally right here. This is the beginning of day 2 and also the end of day 1. The same logic is going to apply to the next one. So for the number 2 here, it's going to refer to the end of day 2 and also the beginning of day 3. When you're first learning about Gantt charts, you often don't really look into it that much and you don't really think. You're just like, yeah, whatever, it's a number and we'll just go for it. But these numbers actually refer to two different points in time, because clearly, as we're drawing the Gantt chart here, it is literally like at the end of day 2 and also at the same location as the beginning of day 3. So the Gantt chart's kind of weird. It kind of like omits the night or whatever. If you're working like 8-hour days or something, it kind of just ignores certain parts of the day or whatever, depending on how you go about organizing it, which means that there's a little bit more to this than you first think when you start working with Gantt charts. But when we get down to like the number 3 here, let's identify one more color here. So orange will be our 4th day. So literally this number 3 is the end of day 3, but it's also the beginning of day 4. So when we get down into the network diagram, like typically if you're just learning it and you're just like on rapid fire following instructions, what you do is you start with a 0 or 1 or whatever your professor or textbook tells you to do, and you add the duration, and now you get the early finish. And then someone will probably tell you, okay, take that early finish into the early start of the next activity, or the succeeding activities. So you're like, okay, great, I'll put the 3 here, and then boom, keep going. But if you think about it for a second, like what is 3? Well, here, let's look at this activity. 3, this is the end, this is the early finish of activity A. It's the end of activity A, which is really the end of the 3rd day. So we're saying, yeah, this is the end of the 3rd day. But then how can activity B start at the end of the 3rd day? Well, no, it's not starting at the end of the 3rd day. It's starting at the beginning of the 4th day, which happens to come after the 3rd day is finished. So we just bring it in here. So you see the same number here, and it's like on the Gantt chart, it's kind of referencing the same point on the Gantt chart, but it's typically like you could talk about it in terms of two different things. It's the end of the 3rd day and the beginning of the 4th day. So as you read the x-axis of the Gantt chart, if you do it the way that I do it, 0 is the beginning of the 1st day. 1 is the end of the 1st day and also the beginning of the 2nd day. 2 is the end of the 2nd day and also the beginning of the 3rd day. 3 is the end of the 3rd day and also the beginning of the 4th day, and so on. When you get all the way to the end of your project, I see a 10, and 10 is the end of the 10th day. If you count them up, it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 days in there, and we're ending at the end of the 10th day. So in conversation, if you were to say how many days is this project, you would say it's 10 days. It ends at the end of the 10th day. If there was another activity coming after it, that activity would start at the beginning of the 11th day, and we would also use that 10. We would carry it forward just like we do from here to here, from the early finish to the early start, and we'd carry on. Now, if you have been instructed to start with a 1, instead and add the duration and subtract 1 later or something like that, that's cool. Just make sure you know what you're doing, and I'd recommend drawing the Gantt chart and drawing the network diagram beside each other and like just sitting down for like half an hour and thinking about it and being like, what do my numbers mean? What are these numbers like labeling? What points in time are they referring to? Because I know this has confused a lot of people over the years, and hopefully this helps to clarify the system that I use. And actually the reason why I use this system of starting at 0 is, like I said before, like I think axes should start at 0 and then increment as we go up, just like any other graph. But also this is just a method that I learned way back in the day from my professor, who was also a mathematically inclined person. And so I kind of carried on with the same style because I liked the style that I learned from the beginning. Now, while we're on the topic, hopefully that kind of makes sense, but also like on the topic of Gantt charts and their relation to network diagrams, All of these numbers you can see refer to the early start and the early finish. So if we look at activity A, 0 and 3, the early start is 0 and the early finish is 3. When we get to activity B, the early start is 3 and the early finish is 7. So we have 3 and 7. For activity C, we have 3 and 5. That's the early finish, 3 and 5. And that's just like the one way of representing it. For D, we have 7 and 8, where it starts and ends. And that is, the early finish is 7, and 8 is the early finish. And for activity E here, the early start is 8, and the early finish is 10. So the Gantt chart actually gives you all of the early start and early finish values of your activities. It doesn't give you any information about the late start and late finish, but I guess we're here now, so we might as well solve it. If you wanted to, you could do the backwards pass as well. It's pretty fast. You just bring down the early finish to the late finish, bring it here. We'd have 8. We just go backwards, doing the opposite of what we did on the forward pass. We'd have 7. I'd bring that 7 here. This becomes a 5. 7 minus 2 is 5. 7 minus 4 is 3. I'd bring the smaller of the two values in here, doing the opposite of the forward pass. So I'd bring in a 3 here, and we'd end up back at 0. And this would show us that our critical path is where all of the early finishes and late finishes are the same. So that would be A, B, D, E. But the point of this video isn't to find the critical path of this project. It's to explain why I start with a 0. And hopefully that's clear by now. And comment down below if that makes sense, and also if you've been taught it to start with a different number. I'm curious. I've seen on my other videos a lot of people talking that they're starting with 1 and other numbers. So just curious, which system did you learn, and do you like this one, or do you like the system that you learned better? Let's hear it in the conversation down in the comments. So guys, thanks for watching, and I hope that clarified some things for you.